Hey everyone, welcome to the West Dakota Dad. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you have the time, hit that like button, leave a comment, share with your friends, subscribe, leave a review, whatever it is. It really helps me to reach out to more and more people, and I'm a very grateful person for that. So with that being said, today we're going to be talking about a certain stage in a person's life. Everyone goes through it. Not many remember it. Unless you have kids, then you remember it very vividly. It's a stage that some people call terrific. Many call it terrible. But one thing is for certain, when a child reaches the age of 2, it's a new ball game, okay? So before, you were just, playing t-ball. You're in the minor leagues. Maybe you're at the carnival. You're on the kiddie rides and everything. It might be fun. It might be thrilling, exciting. Well, now we're about ready to go on a roller coaster. And, the ones that you have to be this high for. And we're not quite that tall yet. But we're going to take this roller coaster and we maybe realize that, oh man, we bit off more than we can chew. Well, now we're along for the ride, so we got to ride it out. And there is ups, way high ups, way low downs, twists and turns. And am I still talking about roller coasters or am I talking about raising a 2-year-old? I'm not 100% sure. This is a really long metaphor, but it's true. Raising a 2-year-old is a whole new ball game opposed to a 1-year-old or an infant. It's crazy. There's ups and downs. Like my child, I would have said terrific 2s at the beginning. I'm not going to say terrible 2s because she's still awesome. We just have our moments, But now we are starting to get some tantrums. We start to get some not listening, doesn't want to go to bed, a lot of stalling, sometimes just being naughty for no apparent reason. But hey, potty training's going well. A little check in there. We're doing very well with that. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. As a matter of fact, as you're listening to this is her first day of Montessori school, which is pretty cool. On their, you can go check them out. If there's a Montessori school, they got a really neat way of teaching, structured daycare / teaching. It's kind of like a school. A lot of benefits to that. So we're starting that, but having a 2-year-old's crazy. I'm not gonna lie, when we were on vacation, we had our first mental breakdown tantrum of our child, and it was crazy. She didn't want to go to bed. A lot of factors leading up to that. We weren't in our own bed. We were sleeping in the loft. She didn't have a very good sleep schedule. She's sleeping with mom and dad, different bed. So this child was probably just wore out. It's kind of towards the end of our vacation. And so we're trying to go to bed and she just did not want to go to bed. So she kind of acted up a little bit and I used my thunderous dad voice. I said, let's go to bed. Knock it off. It sounds better than that in the moment, I promise. But she responded to me by her face turning a dark red, almost purple. Her eyes dilated. Her jaw seemed to dislocate and hit the floor while this thunderous, screeching, lion's roar, eagle screeching, blood-curdling scream that shook her curls on her head like no other hit me like a ton of bricks. I wasn't ready for it. I was so impressed by the amount of volume coming out of this little child. And I'm not gonna lie, I might have been just a little bit intimidated, but obviously she's my daughter and she's 2, so I'm not gonna let that happen. But I realized, I was like, I could have yelled back at her, but I think she'd realize that, okay, person that's the loudest wins. Okay, and, spanking would be like, okay, you're mad, you hit somebody. I didn't want to teach her that. I'm not against a little pat on the butt to get their attention, but it's not working. It doesn't work for my daughter because she just sees monkey see, monkey do. And so we have to find a way to, calm the situation down, as you could say. So, yeah, it took some time. That night it took a long time because we needed her to calm down first, and then we were able to get her to bed because she was way past tired for that, and she had probably way too much sugar throughout the day and so many other factors. But we have found out when it comes to handling situations like that, my daughter, one thing we learned is she doesn't like surprises. she's kind of like her mom in a way, that she kind of wants to know what the next step is. So we've realized at home the best way to handle situations like this is we can't sit around the living room and just be like, all right, let's go get our PJs on and go to bed. She'll rebuttal. So what we have done instead is, okay, let's eat supper. Okay, let's, if it's still light out or something, we'll maybe go out and play. Well, we're going to come back and take a bath, get her PJs on. So now she's in the mood. She realizes that, okay, bedtime's coming soon. And then as it gets a little bit darker, maybe we had a snack. I'm like, hey, you want to read this book? I'll race you to your room. So we run to her room. Now she realizes, okay, now it's time to go night-night. So we get ready for that. We get our stars on and everything. We read our 2 stories. And then she wants us to lay with her, of course. So we say, okay, 5 minutes. We'll lay with her for 5 minutes. Then we'll say, okay, we got to go clean up, or we got to go lock up the house, or we got to, whatever it is, we just tell her we got to go do something real quick, and then we'll come back to check on you. And she's like perfectly fine with that. And then she has to be tucked in. And of course, Dad has to do it here, and has to do the big tuck in, which he puts the blanket over her, and he reaches his arms big up, and then he comes down and he kind of tickles her a little bit while he, bounces her on the bed a little bit, and she likes that. And then she's good. And she'll fall asleep almost probably within 10 minutes every time. So perfect there. One night it was a little bit more challenging. She went to bed just fine, but she came running back out. It was right after we got done with the floors. So I don't know if it was because she felt faster on the floors and it was just excited or what, but she'd come running back out and she would smile and be like, I forgot to tell you I love you. I was like, oh, geez, thanks. I love you too. And so she runs back in her room with a smile on her face, and we hear the door shut. Then we hear it open, and she comes running back out. I forgot to give you a kiss goodnight. And I said, okay. So we give her a little kiss goodnight, and she runs back, really cute, loving it. Her little curls bouncing as she runs. Well, then she comes running back out again. I forgot to give you a hug. Or, the next time it was, I need more water. And the next time it was, I forgot to say goodnight. And it's like, okay, we got to get to bed here. You've stalled for about a half hour longer than normal. And so we got her into bed. As I was getting her into bed, she all of a sudden said, I have to go to the bathroom. And I was tired, I'm not gonna lie. So I got her up, took her to the bathroom, and she was sitting there, and I could tell she didn't really have to go, but we're potty training, so I didn't want to just not let her go in case she had to. And she sat there and was stalling, and I finally just gave her this look like, okay, let's hurry it up here. And she smiled, and she was smiling, and she looked at me, and then all of a sudden she just kind of put her head down. Her smile faded. The little twinkle in her eye just was extinguished. And she just looked like her spirits had been crushed. And that sucks when situations like that. There's no tears. There's no crying. It just was, spirits were crushed. And, obviously I'm a person that you need, you got to discipline your children to keep them on the right path. But sometimes, because I'm a softie, I'm like, how could have I handled this situation better? Obviously I don't like my daughter to be having a good time and then I just crush it because of something that was more concerning about myself, just because I was a little bit tired and I knew that, work was probably going to be a little bit more of a struggle the next day. I have to take a step back and be like, how did I handle this? Could I handle it better? Was I more concerned about me, or was I more concerned about my child? Obviously I do need sleep, but being a parent, you're going to get less sleep, and I've had obviously less sleep and function completely fine the next day compared to this time. So I just had to ask myself, like, hey, okay, just have to have an extra cup of coffee in the morning or something. So, but was I more concerned about me or my child? How could have I handled this better? Was this acting up, stalling, communication breakdown, and what events led up to this? Those are questions I always ask myself when it comes to disciplining my child for various reasons, okay? And so events leading up to it, did she have too much sugar throughout the day? Did she not have a good nap? Did we not plan out our night very well? What events caused this? Because children, I don't feel like naturally just want to be naughty. They're trying to get attention. They're trying to communicate with you somehow. And so I feel like that's our job as parents, is to figure that out. And that's how we best raise children, I guess, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's just some things I've learned from raising a 2-year-old now. It was tough to figure out, and it's still, there's twists and turns to come. But yeah, that's what I kind of had for you guys today. I know it was kind of odd because I was just talking about having a 2-year-old, and that's kind of what the whole episode was about. It isn't always rainbows and butterflies when parenting. Sometimes it can be flat out hard. It can be very easy to point out all the flaws that are happening, but when you take a step back and look at the big picture, I can see that there's way more positives to having children than there are negatives. You just always, what a piece of advice I got from a different podcast, the Dad podcast, was try to always enjoy every moment. Even when you don't feel like you're enjoying it, you never are going to get it back. So you just got to try to enjoy every minute of it. And I think a lot of parents, especially ones that don't have their kids anymore, maybe they grew up and moved out, or maybe a very unfortunate event happened where they didn't get to raise their kids all the way. They would probably tell you the same thing. Enjoy every moment, squeeze them, tell them you love them every single moment. And that is probably the biggest piece of advice I give to anyone becoming a parent or whatnot. I do have a verse today, and that comes from Psalms 127, verse 3. Children are a gift from the Lord. They are a reward from him. And then Ephesians 6:4, fathers, do not provoke your children to anger by the way you treat them. Rather, bring them up in the discipline and instruction that comes from the Lord. So those are my 2 verses for you today. Psalms 127, verse 3, and Ephesians 6:4. I hope that helps you out. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you could just like, comment, share, whatever it is, really helps me out a ton. I hope you guys have a great week. And until next time, I'm the West Dakota Dad. Thanks for listening.